Well, when I was a kid, I was a big Rush fan, and my first concert, I was like 10 years old, and inspired me to do music.
Hey Rush fans, real big treat for you today. It's an interview with Billy Alexander of YYNOT. Let's watch the interview, and there's going to be more interviews with lots of different guitarists for this channel. This is my very first one, so it's a little bit extra special, and I thank Billy for braving the interview with me. It didn't turn out exactly technically the way I wanted, because the software didn't work. But next time we'll have it, we'll get something working. We may do Google Chats. Hey everybody, I'm with Billy Alexander. He's the guitarist for YYNOT, which is a Rush cover band, and also they do originals. And welcome.
Well, thanks for having me.
Excellent. And you're there in California?
That's right, Southern California, Orange County area.
All right. Are you born there? Are you from there?
No, I'm actually originally, I was born in Virginia, but I grew up on the East Coast, actually. But I've been here on the West Coast now for, I don't even know how many years. Basically longer now than I was probably ever on the East Coast.
And how do you like the West Coast there?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's weather's great. There's a million things to do. People are great. So, yeah, it's a great place to live.
Yeah. So tell me now about YYNOT. I've just learned about your band not too long ago. I just found you guys on YouTube, I think, and actually there's several Rush cover bands around the world. There's a few I discovered, and but there was something about YYNOT, I have to say, it was quite unique and strong, especially when I heard some of your original stuff. You can hear the Rush influence, but at the same time you're veering into your own. You're expressing yourself, I could tell. And actually I noticed that too, watching you perform Alex Lifeson's guitar works on stage on YouTube. I could tell, even though you were reproducing what he did, there was a real soul embodied your playing, and it didn't sound merely like you were just copycatting. There was a real, I could really sense you as an artist and a guitarist. So tell me about your interest in Rush. How did YYNOT begin?
Well, when I was a kid, I was a big Rush fan, and my first concert, I was like 10 years old, and inspired me to do music. And then fast forward to the last R40 tour, and I kind of sensed it was going to be the last time I was ever going to see them. They hadn't announced that, but I just kind of felt like, for some reason, and they did the whole thing, as everybody knows, they did the thing from their latest album all the way back in time. And as they were doing that, while I was watching the concert, I was getting really nostalgic and started thinking about, throughout my musical career, I really don't have really good recordings of songs with their heavy influence, other than from way back in the day, things on cassette. So I thought, just for fun, I would compose a kind of a instrumental Rush-esque type of song, just kind of for my own enjoyment. And just to be kind of cheeky, I titled it YYNOT, because why not, and just play on the whole YYZ thing. Yeah. And people really dug it, and they told me, you should post it on some Rush groups and what have you. And so I did. And in the process of kind of tooling around on the groups, I saw a bass player, Tim Starachi, and he had his Rickenbacker 4001, and he was playing Hemispheres, and just with some drummer that he knew somewhere else on the East Coast, and no guitar. And I guess I kind of invited myself to add the guitar, and of course I had to go back and I remember playing this when I was a kid. How's it go again? Anyway, so it just kind of stemmed from that. We started making cover videos, and for vocals, I sang a few things, but for the real high early 70s Rush stuff, obviously wanted somebody that could really kill it. So there's a local girl here that we found. She was fresh out of a performing arts high school named Rocky Cooner. She, at the time, it's a couple years ago, she was about 19, and she came in and did the whole first side of Hemispheres, top to bottom. I set up a webcam and a microphone. She sang it all the way through, and we basically added all our parts and made a cohesive video. And fast forward beyond that, I started writing more songs with the Rush-esque flavoring, because it made sense since we have fans of the covers and the videos to steer them in that obvious direction as well. And then it's just kind of stemmed from there. And then we started playing live around the country when we can, however we can. And that's really where it all started. It was certainly not by design or really anybody had any thought of doing a tribute band or anything like that. In fact, we don't really even call ourselves that because we do have original releases and we do play a lot of Rush live for sure, but we don't really market it as a tribute band per se.
Oh, okay. And did you just tour recently?
Yeah, we just came back from a couple shows on the East Coast in North and Western New York. We have I'm simultaneously trying to finish our second album in between all this stuff, and we're planning on back east again, July in Florida, a couple dates in Florida. Detroit and Cleveland in August, and then I think some West Coast dates are on the horizon as well. So yeah, we're getting around a little bit.
Now, what does it take to be able to tour like that? Have you toured before as a musician? Is this old hat for you? Or?
Oh yeah. No, I've been touring in some form or another probably my whole career. I've been a side band to people like John Waite from the Babies and Bad English, and I was in a band on Curve Records a couple years back, and we toured and did radio support and all that stuff. So yeah, that's nothing new. But this band is difficult because we're so spread out. Two of us are on the West Coast. Drummers in Joel is in Utah, and Tim is in Florida. So we never have a chance to get together and rehearse at all. So we basically each fly in to the date. Backline is set up, and then we sound check, and then we play the show. And that's really how we've been doing it. So it's challenging, the logistics for sure.
Right.
Tough.
Right. So is rehearsal for you largely just playing along with the records then?
Yes, we have to individually do quite a bit of our own homework, obviously. Yeah. And really as much as we can, so that we hit the ground running and we just count it off, and we hit like a 2.5 hour show. Wow. And just hope that we nail it. And it's a little nerve wracking, especially on some of the songs that are obviously, as you know yourself, very very challenging. And hoping you land on your feet, and we've been pretty lucky that things have gone well. And of course, even if a mistake happens, people are forgiving, and that kind of.
Yeah, that's my other question: is how receptive are your listeners and who are coming out to see your shows?
Very. I mean, we have been really blessed that the fans are very passionate about this band, and they're especially passionate about the original music. And you have to ask them for some of those reasons, but we play the original stuff live as well, and they're familiar with the records or the record at this point, so it goes along nicely with the Rush material because they're so familiar with it, and they really insist on having us play it. And of course that's great for us because I've always been an original artist my whole career, so that's just kind of natural for me to play my own songs live. So it's really nice that they've been receptive to the stuff.
Wonderful. And I can't I'd be remiss not to mention your bandmates, your singer Rocky.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, she is.
What a singer.
She's fabulous. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
And she excels, I believe, on both the covers, trying to pull off Geddy Lee. She really does it.
Yeah.
And also for your originals, fantastic as well. You've got you're lucky to have such a great vocalist on your band. That's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And your bass player, is it Tom? Sorry, I don't know.
Tim Starace.
He has his sound is, he's got that Ricky he plays all the time, and the sound it's spot on Geddy's playing and sound, and actually the sound reminds me a little bit of Chris Squire from Yes as well.
I agree. Yeah. He's another one of my favorites, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, you're a Yes fan too. Yeah, that was another question I had. What other art rock or progressive rock bands are you influenced by?
Well, not too many, to be honest with you. Going back, we've all had our stretches of stuff. I went through phases. When I was really trying to learn my craft as a guitarist, and I went through some of the Guitar Hero phases of wanting to play fast and play all that crazy stuff. But then I also had a few sort of jazz fusion. I guess a year or so, when you're like 17 or 18, I was listening to Alan Holdsworth and Al Di Meola and some people like that. But as far as like prog rock bands, not a lot. I mean, I went through a Queensryche phase there for a while. But I've always been a little bit more interested in song-based type of bands, I suppose,
right,
as opposed to a lot of instrumental-esque music.
Right.
But, I mean, there's so much great stuff, I love it all.
Fantastic. And your drummer, what's your drummer's name?
That's Joel Stevenette.
Okay, and he's the one who's in Florida or Utah?
Yep. He's in Joel's in Utah, and he was in Nashville for quite a few years, touring with some bands on some of the labels in Nashville and what have you. But he's a session drummer, pretty much full time, gigging and studio, and he plays on all kinds of stuff. He plays on like video game things and like. That's him playing drums on like the NBA on NBC or whatever it is, where it's like da 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 all that. That's like him playing on that.
Yeah.
So he stays busy. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's really good. Everyone in YYNOT is completely competent at covering Rush. That's a high standard to meet for sure.
And we're fans, just like everybody else. I mean, we're big fans.
Yeah. Now, so what's the future for YYNOT? You said you're working on a second original album now?
That's right. Yeah, it's all written. I wrote all the songs and arranged everything. The drums are done, and right now I'm in the process of just one by one retracking guitars and lead vocals and bass, and then mixing and all that stuff. So it's I'm in the middle of that whole process for the whole thing. So it's been I've been busy.
Yeah, that is a lot of work. And did you take any schooling for audio engineering, or are you self-taught, or how did you get into that?
I'm definitely self-taught and still learning, as we all are, But no, I learned a lot from being in the studio and being around other producers and engineers and just kind of keeping an eye on things. And but most of it's basically just rolling up my sleeves and figuring it out, and just not quitting until something sounds good or works, and then learning from mistakes. But no, pretty much completely self-taught with all that.
Well, you've got my vote of confidence in your work, because I do a lot of producing too, and I'm quite amazed at the sound you get. It's very similar to a Rush album. Like it's produced, and to me, Rush has an impeccable standard of production value, especially the drumming. Man, that's the hardest thing, is to get the drums to sound really alive.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've been lucky in that regard. And like as you say, we have amazing musicians in this band, and also just really good people and fun to be around. You know.
Yeah.
At this point in your career, you know, if you don't have that, it's kind of
right.
You know, you gotta have that. You know.
Yeah, the chemistry. So you're saying you have a good chemistry with these other musicians.
Yeah. Musical and just personally, and of course the two feed into each other. So we're very, very lucky with that.
Now, was Rocky actually a Rush fan before the band?
She was, yes and no. Like her parents growing up would take her to concerts, and she was exposed to everything from Frank Zappa to Rush so she got a lot of music from her parents. And then so she had seen Rush live, I think once or twice as a little kid. And so she definitely digs them. But a lot of the stuff, when we decide to pick a song to play, it will be the first time she's ever heard it. So she basically digs in and learns it. And then, of course, it's fun to see her show up with a song learned and go, I really love this song. Because she's talking about the song that, you know, you and I have been listening to all these years, and she just now heard it. You know? Right. That actually gives it new life too, because it's like we're kind of like getting this fresh perspective on this music, you know, this from the 80s and 70s or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to speak on my channel. Of course, my channel is for guitarists. I teach a lot of Rush songs, and I was really amazed at how anxious people are to learn Rush tunes, which go way back to the 70s. And to me, the success of a musician is if they inspire other people to take up the instrument. I mean, just imagine how many guitarists were inspired to pick up a guitar because they heard Rush, or drummers that heard Neil Peart, or so musicianship is really an important, something I value, and I can tell you value that too, musicianship. Do you do a lot of practicing? I mean, do you do a lot of do you spend
I don't. I did a lot of the woodshedding years when I was very young, and you know, a lot of my focus in the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years has been a little bit more in terms of a songwriter and a producer. Obviously, guitar is the instrument that I have the most facility on, but when this YYNOT project has really forced me to resharpen my skills, not only for some of the Rush material, but our own material, because I arranged the songs and the music to be not just, well, it's challenging. It's written to be challenging, and it definitely is. In fact, it's some of the songs off the record are every bit, in some cases, even more challenging than some of the Rush material. I have all kinds of reasons for that, but similar reasons I would imagine that someone like Alex Lifeson might say himself. You know, they wrote and arranged that music to have a certain sound and offer a certain thing, but also to keep themselves, you know, entertained and challenged. You know,
right.
So I definitely have that going on right now.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Billy, for speaking to us. I'm hoping maybe we can talk again and do this again.
Anytime.
You know, and especially, you know, as a new album comes out, I'm happy to promote that new work you're doing, or your new works, or your tours, or anything. I'm happy to share that, because my channel has a lot of Rush fans who are wanting to learn the classic Rush, and I'm sure a lot of them are already aware of you. And if there's any who aren't, well, check out YYNOT. Is there a website you've got? You can tell us about the address, or?
Our main website is YYNOTband.com, and then of course you can like us on Facebook, Instagram, and any of those places.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day, and bye from Canada.
Bye-bye.